What's up, boxing fans? We have another show coming up to you March 25th at the Grand Villa Casino, the takeover to the Uprising. Tickets are available on our website, empireboxing.live. Go ahead and reserve them early. This show will sell out. Not only that, but we are launching a watch party of the takeover at the Hollywood Theater on March 1st. Tickets will be available very soon, also on our website through Eventbrite. You're not going to want to miss this, as we're going to have a live press conference with the athletes coming for the takeover to the Uprising as well.
An Empire Boxing and Unlearning Network production.
Welcome back to another episode of the Empire Boxing Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Jay. And today, back for the second time, we have none other than Michael, the Hurricane Viloria, in the building. Nice to have you.
Thank you for having me again.
Second time's a charm.
I know.
And last time we had you and Terrance.
Yes.
And this time we got you solo.
Uh-huh.
Because poor Terrance has had a bit of a year, hasn't he?
Yeah. He injured his hand before the fight even, and then during the fight
no
just
way.
got worse. Yeah.
Oh, so in camp.
Yeah, during camp, he both arms actually. He tore his left bicep
I remember this.
the whole time. We were training for the fight, and then he's one of those guys, like he's not gonna tell you that he's injured,
Right.
But his hand there was a small crack on it already, and then it just got worse during the fight.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hands are a really common, unfortunately common thing in boxing, I think, especially the pro gloves are so light.
Yes.
As well, so, and then you're hitting the skull, and that's a hard surface. And so sometimes those fractures happen. Well, we wish him a speedy recovery. It was fun to have both you guys, but I'm super stoked to have you here. And we had this little pre-show moment where I had a premonition that you had recently, I thought I already knew that your fight nickname was the Hurricane, but apparently this is a new thing.
It is a new thing.
Circa when?
After the fight.
Okay, so this was
not even straight after the fight. It was maybe a couple of months ago.
Right. Yeah. That's crazy. So I didn't know this, but this was my premonition. I kid you not. I was I was going to introduce you as the Hurricane. I was like, wait, I should double check that that's his nickname. That's so funny. Who else had the Hurricane? Was it Duran?
No.
Who? There was somebody.
You can do this.
I can do this?
You can do this.
Mexican, yeah?
No.
Cuban?
No.
Colombian?
He's African American.
Just starts listing every single. African, hey?
Yeah.
The Hurricane, because it's so familiar. Okay, give me another hint.
He had there's a book called 16 Rounds. It's all about him. Google it, everyone.
Go Google it. Don't be like me. Who was it? Jason? Who had the Hurricane nickname? I'm blinking. Ruben Carter?
Ruben Carter.
Okay, cool. And is this someone that you genuinely watch or have studied or anything, or is this coincidence, or is he a hero on the list?
Yes. Well, one of my training partners' name is Ian. Shout out. Ian, he's the one who gave me the Hurricane nickname, because he's hey, you're like Ruben Carter in there.
Wicked.
Yeah, and it's and a lot of it is because they say I just keep on coming.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because actually, I mean, obviously I was there and I saw you fight Sean Archer live, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to go through it again and watch it before I get a chance to talk to you again today. Yeah. So, and that really was, what a war. That was just in the pocket, constant exchanges. And I mean, it was you coming forward the whole time for sure. Sean did a good job though. He's a
100%.
tough motherfucker.
Yeah.
Did he surprise you?
How tough he is, 100%. Yeah. And also, what surprised me the most was his experience, right? Because he's been there so many times. He's also had at that point, 3 or 4 pro fights already. Yeah. So he really used that to his advantage. Mm-hmm. I wanted to move around. I wanted to box, but as soon as he took the middle, and I looked into and I saw him, and he's and in my head it clicked already. I'm like, okay, if I give this guy an inch, he's gonna take a mile. So I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a firefight all night.
Yeah.
So,
and neither one of you were really stepping back. It was pretty in the pocket the whole time. One thing I noticed, you did a really good job of getting under, the first rounds especially, you did a really good job of getting under a lot of his punches.
Right.
You were getting low, you were getting your head off the line, you were throwing the right hook to the body quite a lot. Is that a punch you really like to throw?
Not so much, but I found it there because he was more straight up.
Right.
Than crouched down. Even when he fought Daniel Roach. Mm-hmm. He wasn't going down low or anything. It's just the way he fights. He's straight up, and he's ready to take punishment and give punishment. Yeah. So he was very open to the body.
Right. Yes. Because I saw you utilizing that overhand right a lot. And then that right hook to the body. And at the end of, I think it was last 45 seconds or something, and the end of the first round, you hit him with a money liver shot.
I did.
And you hurt him.
Yeah.
And what did that feel like, that moment where you're like, oh, I got to turn on the gas?
Yes, and I did. But again, he used his his experience. He knew he got hurt. He knew how to weather the storm, and he was ready to throw back. And you know what? I got out of the way. I remember that sequence very, very clearly because as soon as I heard him, I let go a few punches. And then I see him move his shoulder. I'm like, oh crap, something's coming back. So I'm like, I ducked under it.
Right. So what's that like, in that moment where you're like, okay, I've hurt someone. You've damaged them.
Yeah.
That you have that moment where you're like, okay, assessing how much to put your foot down on the gas pedal because you don't want to blow it all. There's still, at that point, there's still 30 seconds left in a round. It's a boxing match. Anything can happen.
Yes.
So at what point do you decide to pull back once you've kind of given the gas just a little bit? When do you know to keep going or pull back?
Personally, every time I've hurt everyone I fought, and each time I do, when I feel their guard is still tight, I know I'm not gonna get them right away.
Right.
Like when I hit Sean, and I let go a few punches, I still felt his guard was still tight. So I pulled back. Right. And again, it's one of those things where a lot of people would punch themselves out punching the guard, and that's not. It's a waste of your time, right?
It's especially a bit dodgy towards the end of a round too. It's like, okay, you punch the dickens out of somebody for 20 seconds. You got to still get through another 15 seconds of the round, and then you only have a minute to recover. And at that level of, probably anaerobic, power that you're expending there, you need that time to recover too. So, that minute might not be long enough to come back into the second round as fresh as you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you were just talking about energy expenditure there. When you hurt someone, the adrenaline goes up.
Yeah.
So everything you're trying to give everything. But then if the guy doesn't go down, that adrenaline quickly goes away.
Right.
And then you feel that dump and your legs go, oh snap.
Right. Yeah. And it expedites that fatigue feeling that you're really trying to avoid the whole time. And you've spent your entire camp trying to avoid that fatigue feeling. But that little bit of hormone, that excitement can really affect that.
Especially the crowd plays a big part of it too.
Yes.
Like the minute I heard him and people went crazy, I'm like, I want you to keep going crazy. So I just wanted to go in there.
And
but then,
Mendoza rolled deep. Y'all rolled deep. You had a big section in the back, real deep. So they were they all had your back on that one for sure.
For sure.
Now, speaking of, nerves and energy and crowd and all that was your pro debut. And I don't think I've talked to you since then.
No.
How did it feel?
Amazing.
Yeah.
It was definitely a dream come true.
Right.
I remember warming up in the back, and I think Jesco actually has this on film because he was filming us back there. And just before I walked out, I was bouncing around. Everybody was behind me, my sparring partners, training partners. Didn't even go to the gym, but they trained with me, and they're my family. I turned around and I looked at all of them and I said, I'm ready to die. I'm ready to die tonight. And then I turned around, walked out, and the minute the music hit and the people went crazy, I'm like, I belong here.
Yeah, brilliant.
This is it.
How many of those moments do you really get in a lifetime?
Man, people are lucky to even have one moment.
Right.
Right. So I feel so blessed
having
that opportunity to just walk out, and at the end of the fight, even people who I didn't know were cheering, clapping.
For sure.
And coming up to me afterwards. And that's incredible.
Yeah. I think that's the beauty of let's just say even combat sport in general is, even for those casual fans, what you witnessed is something incomprehensible to you, right? Like the average person, they cannot comprehend taking part in what they just witnessed two people take a part of, right? Getting in there and going into war with someone that you've never met, and it does kind of feel like a to death, to the death sort of thing, right? And the average fan, they're just it doesn't matter whose side they started on, who they picked walking out, whose shorts they liked better, whose walkout song, whatever judgment they made of which fighter they wanted to win, they watch that and they're blown away, and they're going to give respect where respect is due. And if you're entertaining them, but they're also I think they're just genuinely just jaw dropped at the whole thing.
Yeah, and what I love about watching that fight going back is every round you'll see me and Sean just smiling.
Yeah.
Just having fun.
Yeah.
You know,
and
like-
there was a little bit of like, he's egging you to come forward.
Yeah.
And there was like, some of those brilliant moments between the two of you guys. And, he ended up getting, he timed that rear uppercut a couple times really well.
Beautiful.
Really well.
Yeah.
And then he started kind of evading that overhand right because he was like, I don't want to know any more of that.
Yeah.
So what going into I want to know, maybe you remember, I'm guessing you remember this probably burned in your mind, this fight, but what did your coach say to you at the end of the third round?
At the end of the third round, you know what? He told me to wake up.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you get lost in there, right? Like you're in a shit show for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You go back to your corner and you're still kind of there.
Yeah.
Right. And then so he splashed water in my face and goes, "Wake up! You got to finish this fight."
Right.
I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." So I walked out and I can still kind of hear him go, "But be you."
Right.
Right. So just be you. Show everyone who you are.
Right.
So that's when that last like 20 or 10 seconds of the fight, I literally, I looked at Sean and I nodded. I'm like, okay, we're standing right here and we're going to exchange.
Yeah. Wicked.
Right?
So if you could describe in words that, show people who you are, who is the you that you're trying to show? Can you describe it in words?
I'm the guy that's going to be working hard no matter what.
Yeah.
And having fun doing it.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of you see on social media a lot of people doing all this motivation stuff like, hey, live your dreams, do this, do that. But how many of them are actually living their dreams? You know what I mean? And I am, and I wanted to show that.
Yeah.
This is what living your dreams look like.
Brilliant.
It's amazing.
Brilliant. How proud of you were your brother, or how proud of you were how proud were you of Terrance? Come on, Jay.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I to this day, like anyone who I've talked to, they became such a big fan of my brother.
Yeah.
Just because of how technically sound he was.
Oh, he was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful to watch. And a lot of heart too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, he fought with basically with no arms technically in the last third, fourth round.
Yeah.
No arms. But he was still in there. And that's why he's out for a while, because he's like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to hit him with my broken hand.
Yeah. Well, you're already there.
Yeah.
And how proud was he of you?
It was emotional when we got back.
Yeah.
In the locker room, just because we've talked about it for so long together. We
and
started
to experience
together.
that together.
Oh man.
So what did you guys do to celebrate? What was were the Vilorias tearing up the town like on that night, or what happened?
No, you know what?
You guys went to bed?
I was so tired after.
For sure.
Not just because of the fight, but everything leading up to it, and like after it, when all the emotion, like everybody going, "Hey, good job, wow."
Yeah.
I'm an introvert, so when I'm around a lot of people, my battery goes whoop.
Right.
Right. And then that's exactly what happened that night. So we went out for dinner and I'm like, I want to go to sleep.
Yeah, fair. What did you eat? What was your celebratory fight like meal?
I think I had a burger.
Yeah, wicked.
Yeah.
And fries?
Yeah.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
Send it.
Yeah.
With cheese?
No. I don't think I could handle dairy after that. But man, like, yeah, after that, I just went home. Just like, I want to go to sleep.
Yeah. And how did you sleep that night? Could you get to sleep with all
No.
that adrenaline? Yeah. I was like, you probably
I'm
laid
tired,
awake
but I couldn't.
blinking.
Exactly.
Yeah. Running it through your mind.
Yeah.
And how many times do you watch that fight now?
I think at least twice a week.
Yeah.
Because one, it's you. You're living your life. You're living your dreams. I want to watch it. Second is like, okay, what can I improve on, right? This is what I should have done. That's what a lot of it was mental.
Right.
Like going into the fight, I didn't fight for 3 years, right? 0. And my pro debut and against someone as experienced as Sean. Okay, I was like, okay, now I gotta take my time a little bit more.
Right.
Instead of falling into his game, let's try to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Right. And again, like, and I hear it from my training partners. Hey man, you should have done this. You should have done that.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
but again, like I tell them, like you weren't in the ring with Sean, right? Like he's the type of guy that if, like I said before, if you give him an inch, he'll take a mile.
Yeah.
And if you start dancing around him, doing all that stuff, he wants you to do that.
Yeah.
Because that's what everybody's been doing to him for what, like 200 plus amateur fights. And
Right. Yeah. Sean's got a lot of fights.
And people have been trying to dance around him.
Right.
He knows how to fight those guys properly, you know. And I know he's looking for a guy that's just gonna stand there too and be like,
Right.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it was such an exciting fight. Like it, you know, I think I think every show that we've put on, I've been like, damn, all those fights were really good.
Yeah.
But there was a few that really stand out, and definitely both yours and Terrances were those fights that really stood out for me. It's just like, again, yeah, you know, very technical, but also a lot of bravado and heart, and like the kind of fight the fans want. They want fans like. I mean, we love fights that are nuanced and technical, and we can watch them and, oh, you know, he's setting this up, and we can kind of like read it on a different level because we know boxing. But the fans want an exciting fight. You know, they want something that's making them go, oh my God, like even something that's as close as that fight. There were moments where it was close. And it was just brilliant. And you executed exactly what you needed to get that fight on your side in the end.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was just brilliant. We loved that fight. Now let's talk a little bit about, March 25th, you're coming back.
Yes.
Stepping between the ropes again.
Yes.
First off, how fucking excited are you?
Very.
Okay, sweet. Great. Us too. And then we're fighting, you're fighting a provincial champ. He's had like 30, 40, 50 some fights, Aldo.
Yeah.
Tell me about him. What do you know? What are you studying? Are you leaving that up to your coach? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I'm leaving that up to my coaches and my sparring partners.
Yeah.
And it's up to them to come up with a game plan. It's my
job to
execute
Yeah.
it. But based on what they're showing me, and based on like the looks that my sparring partners have been giving me, I can kind of guess, how he fights, right? Like he's tall guy. I think he won YYC Cup. The Western Canadians this year as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be an interesting fight.
Yeah.
And he's again another seasoned,
he's
decorated
experienced.
amateur.
Yeah.
So it'd be fun.
And have you outsourced some different sparring partners to kind of like match that style or what's expected of that style?
Yeah. I've been in touch with Gavin and Manraj from Bisla.
Cool.
Yeah. We grew up together, so like we've trained together for a long time. So it's nice. They have their insights. They've watched them fight.
Right.
So.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Always helpful. But then also at the same time, you don't want to get too in your head about it and go too far down the rabbit hole of, what social media creeping somebody, making decisions based on what they see, what you see on the internet. Like at some point, I think we talked about this before, is that every time you step into, a fight with someone, it's like they're not going to fight you the way that you've watched them fight other people. It's a new fight. There are people are going to have their tendencies, but I mean, boxing is strategy.
Yes.
So they're creating a strategy for you.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fresh look.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I guess going down that rabbit hole too far is a bit.
Yeah, that's why I try not to do that stuff. I try to focus on what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's mature fighters probably take that approach more so than, because I remember I think my first 4 or 5 fights, I was obsessed with creeping whoever I was. It's like such an image because you're freaking out, right? You're such an immature approach at right.
Yeah. It kills you. It kills your head.
Absolutely.
It kills your head.
Yeah. Highly, highly not recommend that one. So what are you doing differently in this camp apart from different looks and sparring? Have you changed up anything else? Your S&C, your frequency, is anything looking different?
Yeah. My strength and conditioning. Definitely, it's I'm doing more explosive movements as opposed to, I knew that the fight with Sean was going to be an endurance factor,
right?
So we focus a lot on muscular endurance and just going, being able to execute that for 4 rounds, 3 minutes every second, fighting and punching. For this one, we're going a little more explosive.
Okay, wow. Yeah. And what kind of strategy is that going to play into in terms of how you're going to approach this fight?
Stay tuned.
If you can tell us.
But just being able to do my damage and get out of the store.
Right.
We
in and out a little bit.
Yeah, we have this analogy in the gym. You go, if you're a fight is or an exchange is like a conversation. You say hello, and then you should be the first one to say goodbye. Right. So being able to get in there, do my thing, and get out. Right.
Amazing. I love that. And I mean, what I can see, we're going to go visit you guys on Sunday, obviously. But, what I can see in Mendoza right now is based on kind of the social media. And you guys have a really strong culture there. And there seems to be a lot of message in what you guys produce as content. And I'm guessing that sort of reflects that culture.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. Who's sort of at the heartbeat of that? Who's at the core?
Oh, it's Coach ONeill.
Yeah.
He's a poet.
Right.
Right. Like he it's kind of cryptic at times. Other times it's very deep. Right. But he's always trying to put out a message there.
Right.
Even our sessions are like that too. Right. Like he won't talk as much as you see other coaches talk, but the drills and all that, he's sending us a message, and it's up to us to come home and go, okay, we practice this and that. Why? He does that. His training style is that old saying where you can give a man a fish, you can feed him for a day.
Right. You teach a man to fish.
You can feed him for a lifetime. Interesting. Yeah.
He sounds like a bit of like a Miyagi, Mr. Miyagi type.
Oh, he's 100% Mr. Miyagi. Master Splinter is what I call him.
Right. If you can snatch the grasshopper from my hand. Now, when you so would you, in your opinion, does this help to weed out the fighters that are going to probably have enough insight to take whatever experience that they had in the gym that day, take it home. And the ones that are hungrier, the ones that will sit there and chew on it and digest it.
Yes.
And do you think that is kind of like a bit of a weed out? Like who's serious, who's not serious?
100%.
Who's going to go home and chew on this for like 2 hours?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like that's what separates a good fighter from a great fighter is can they think on their feet in the middle of a fight?
Yeah.
Because half the time you won't be able to hear your coach.
Yeah.
There's a crowd.
It is just you out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, can you strategize? Can you take those things that's in your toolbox and bring them out in the fight?
Right.
Impromptu. Could happen at any time, right? So what he's teaching us to do is exactly that, is to be able to strategize on the go.
Yeah.
Think for ourselves. Because there's things that a coach can see that you might not be able to see, and things you see that the coach can't see.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, so that's his training style.
It's so cool. Like you're right. It is so different, the lens from the fighter to the coach. The coach is kind of like quickly leafing through the book, but the fighter is reading every word, so the coach has that 30,000 foot view of like, okay, what is this book really about? What is happening right now? How can I summarize this? It's like the Cole's notes, but the fighter is kind of getting lost sometimes in the detail as well, dissecting every little piece. And sometimes, your like emotion or something might be blocking a little piece of information, and it's up for the coach to kind of fill the gaps in with that, isn't it? It's a fascinating thing. And I think it's kind of beautiful. Like you can only know if you've experienced it, if you've been in there and been in that moment.
And in moments where you're losing, right? Like I've been in fights where I had to pull things out of the mud because I was losing the first 2 rounds. Amateurs, it was only 3 rounds, right?
Yeah.
And
it's
I would come
short
back
and furious. You got to impress the judges in 9 minutes. Go.
Yeah. And there are times where a coach, what they need to do is not give you strategy, but to give you a pep talk in the corner if you're losing. Because if you're losing, you're not going to hear, you won't be able to process jab to the body, jab to the head, move your head to the left. No, you're already gone.
Yeah.
So sometimes all you need a coach to do is go, hey,
wake up,
right?
Yeah.
So and he knows the balance of that.
Yeah.
Right. And funny, in the gym right now during this camp, you were talking about the things I've changed.
Yeah.
Well, he's coaching me less and coaching my sparring partners more.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
teaching them how to beat me.
Yes. Empowering you to be that kind of like making your own decisions, real-time toolbox. What do you know already? What can you access? How do you read the scenarios?
Yeah.
He's forcing you into that.
Like I have no choice now but to do that.
And also, what's your experience? Like, how are you noticing that's changing things for you?
Oh, they're getting better.
They're getting better. So you got to get better.
Yeah. Like I have no choice but to get better. Otherwise I'm just going to get beat on every single day.
Right.
Right. So they're getting better. They're evolving, forcing me to evolve.
Wow. That's so cool. I mean, I'm really looking forward to coming down there and checking out what's going on.
You should come train with us too.
Yeah, right. Shouldn't I? I don't really get much boxing in these days. I really missed it though.
You should get more boxing.
I know. I do love it. I do love it so much. It was my first love, boxing. Now, I also wanted to ask you, what do you think is going to be your experience stepping in for the second time? Is it going to be as sweet? Is it going to be sweet in a different way? Because nothing quite feels like that pro debut. No. That moment will never happen again, but...
Nothing like your first time.
Exactly, right? But how are you feeling about that second time? And what do you expect to feel?
I expect to be a lot calmer in there.
Yeah.
For sure. Because now I know what it feels like to have that many people, right? Because you go to an amateur show or whatever, like people leave after their fight or the people that they like or whatever, or their
it's
team
a gymnasium.
is there and they leave. Yeah.
There's 50 seats, 20 of them are full.
But there's something about just the media aspect of the fights, the interviews after, and the walkout song.
Yeah.
You know,
powerful. It's different.
It's different. And I think that's what caught me by surprise the first time. I bathed in it. So I took my time walking up to the ring because I wanted to soak that in and be like, okay, this is what it is. I visualized this, but holy crap, it's different. You know, like you can visualize it all you want, but once you're in there, you're like, whoo. Yeah. So now I know how that feels. I feel like I won't be as taken by the moment as I was the first time. Because that's what it was. Like right when the bell rang, I was still taken by the moment.
Right, yeah, of course.
And then Sean woke me up. I'm like, oh snap, I'm in a fight.
Yeah. And we're fighting now.
Yeah.
Wow. And I noticed like just a moment before you stepped through the ropes, you said a little prayer, you closed your eyes, you said something to yourself. Do you mind sharing what that was?
I just said, I don't remember the details, but I do remember telling myself, you're home.
Wow. I always love talking to you because you always have these like amazing little like trail off nuggets. Like you just drop them in there and I'm just like, well, there we go. That's a wrap. That was fucking brilliant. Amazing. Well, I can't wait to see that moment again for you. I really can't. And I can't wait to this to be just like this is the precipice of many more moments like that. And your career will continue to take you to new heights. Those moments I imagine will start to get sweeter in different ways. The one day there'll be a world title and that will be better than it'll be like, on the par with your first moment. Cause it'll be the first of sort of reaching what you described when last time we talked to you was like your ultimate goal in this is to have a world title. So I'm imagining that walkout is going to be maybe the sweetest one yet. Yeah. Okay, so up and coming boxing stuff. I know you're like a big boxing fan.
I am.
He watches a lot. He's got opinions too. Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia. Give me what you think.
Okay.
He's like, thought you never asked.
Here's the thing. I'm a massive Tank Davis fan. Yeah. Massive. And he can turn you off in a blink of an eye. So can Ryan Garcia. But I'm going to go out on the limbs and say here that Tank's going to take out Ryan Garcia in not as fast as what people think is going to be. It's going to be competitive the first 6-7 rounds because Tank likes to take his time, right? But he's got the strategy to do it. He's got the patience to do it. Ryan Garcia still when you watch him, I'm sorry, Jason, I'm sorry, Angelo, but my brother, my brother loves Ryan Garcia. When he watches this, he's gonna
shout out Terrance.
Yeah, not Terrance, Angelo.
Yeah. Who's Terrance going for?
Terrance is gonna pick Tank.
Tank?
Yeah.
Okay.
But when Angelo watches this, he's gonna whoop me in sparring. But
this is for that thing you said on the podcast.
Here's the thing. Ryan Garcia still looks uncomfortable in the ring. It's like when you watch him move in the ring, he still hasn't found himself in it. As opposed to guys who've already have the same amount of fights he has and the experience he has. They're more comfortable.
Do you think that was like, you think that's consistent / before his split with Eddie Reynoso or since his split with Eddie Reynoso? Or do you think that's just him right now?
That's just him right now. He still hasn't.
Is it like an immaturity? What do you think it is?
That could be it. That could be it. He feels very uncomfortable in there.
Interesting.
And it takes him, and I feel like we haven't really seen Ryan Garcia go the distance, right? Against someone who's game. He has gone the distance before. That was only like 6 rounds though. Right? Tank's a different beast. He can take a hit and he can give a hit. And
he's fast as lightning.
Yes. Ryan is fast. Also. Like incredibly fast. Like stupidly fast. Yeah. Like it's so stupid how fast he is. It's ridiculous. His timing, that's what he has, his speed and his timing. And any shot can turn you off too. But Tank has that comfortability in the ring. He's comfortable in there. He knows what he is, who he is, and what he can do. Right. Ryan is going to be uncomfortable the first half of that fight. Interesting. Very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think Tank is gonna, and I'm curious to know. Do you think it's gonna be like Tank does this beautiful, like explosive, like gazelle punch? he's got a mean left hook he comes forward with, but he also goes to the liver. Do you think he's going to try to fight Ryan at his own game? Because Ryan also, how would you, if you've got a fighter who uses their left hook to turn people's lights off, are you going to fight a left hook with a left hook? What do you think Tank's going to do differently to evade Ryan Garcia's?
He's going to move laterally. He's most people who fought Ryan Garcia, they went straight in at him, even if they're going to go down to the body, and that's where he turns it off with that left hook.
Yeah, he just checks him with it. Yeah.
If you throw a right hand, that left is coming.
Yeah.
Right. He's going to move laterally.
Right.
And that's been Tank's pattern too, to set up knockouts. He moves lateral, and then he gets you. Right. He draws you, and he's going to draw in Ryan. He's not going to attack
Setting the
Ryan.
trap.
Yeah. He's not going to. I don't think Tank is going to attack Ryan.
Interesting. Now, do you think any of the recent media, around Tank and is going to rattle him for this at all? Is there going to be any, little lingering stench of some of that?
Yeah, apparently that's false, eh? She posted on her Twitter on
the whole
on her
shit on the toothbrush and everything.
Yes,
what, it's fake.
She made it all up.
Wow,
and
even the shit on the toothbrush.
She posted it. She posted it. And
brilliant.
It was all over IG for a bit, and you know what?
Do you think this is part of a marketing strategy that they're all in on, or is this just some wild, weird, woolly shit?
Okay, he's got money. He has a reputation of having done that before.
Yeah, he's a bit of a bad boy.
Easy pickings, right? Easy pickings. So I feel for Tank, and I know people were very quick to go, oh, yep, no,
for sure,
Tank
right?
will definitely do it. He'll do it. He looks like the guy that would do it.
Oh, it's a feeding frenzy when that kind of, all the piranhas just, everyone's going crazy.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting too, because you know what it feels like to be in camp and how many things you're juggling. You're juggling your nutrition and your strength and conditioning and your recovery and your sleep and your day job and your fucking training and your visualization, your mental game, and then to layer a media scandal on top of that. That's got to have a little bit of an impact in someone's focus, at least for a moment or two. It depends on the maturity or the focus of the individual. But I hope it doesn't shake him beyond a couple weeks.
But it has, even on the very high level professionals. The example that comes to mind is Roman Gonzalez, Chocolatito. He's one of my favorite fighters, and Dan actually says I kind of fight like him. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. I remember you saying you like Chocolatito.
Yeah,
I like him too. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah,
but he's when his trainer died, it really rattled him in that first fight against Sorung Visay, and he got and he lost that fight. He got knocked out. Yeah, but that's and he's a high level consummate professional. Stuff like that will rattle you 100%.
And that's the deepest of distractions, the deepest, the heartbreak there.
Yeah,
especially your relationship with your trainer is such an important part of a boxer's life.
Yeah, you entrust them in your life.
Yeah, and a lot of times there's it's like a brotherhood or a father complex sometimes too. I don't mean complex in a negative way, but it does happen. It's that deep influence of coach and athlete, right?
Yeah.
And so to lose someone and then step in the ring and think you're not going to be affected by that is respect to him for taking the fight still.
Yeah, so I think it'll have an effect on Tank for sure.
Okay, next one, even more of a stain on the universe. Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. Let's talk about this train fucking wreck for a second. Honestly, so here's my hunch. Is Tommy Fury sent here to try and convince us that it's not fake? Because can Tommy Fury really lose this?
That's what I thought when Anderson Silva fought Jake Paul.
You thought he was the one to try and convince us that it might actually not be rigged? Yeah,
and then
that was no.
And
he was too old.
It was too old, and also that knockdown though, that to me looked fake.
Nothing happened. It's Anderson fucking Silva. You're telling me I don't know. I'm not gonna go off on this, but okay. What do you think's gonna happen here? And I hate that we're talking about this. We have to.
I know. But here's the thing though, I say a lot of bad things about Jake Paul, but thanks to him, we've got new boxing fans.
Yes.
Yeah, but again, it's one of those things where why you, dude?
Why? It just proves that you can do anything if you're rich enough. You really can. You can literally do anything you want.
And the thing is, he knows how to market himself.
Yeah, I mean, again, with any amount of money, you can hire the best PR, the best marketing, the best publicist, the best social media manager. You can have you can pay all the best people to come up with your strategy. Is he actually cool, or just the people that make us think he's cool are cool? I don't know.
Yeah, but I do want to see him get flattened out. That's the thing. But I don't think Tommy Fury's going to do it.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Oh man, can Tommy Fury actually exist on planet Earth if he doesn't?
I think he's going to be disowned by his brother and his dad.
Is there so here's the question. Is there an amount of money that Tyson Fury would tip his hat to his little bro for accepting to throw that fight? It's Tyson Fury we're talking about.
No, Tyson Fury wouldn't want his brother to throw that fight.
No, and I don't think they don't need the money.
No, but here's the thing. If they do fight, okay, have you seen Tommy Fury fight?
I've watched one or two of his fights.
It's suspect.
He's not great.
Jake Paul can actually probably win this fight if they actually competed. That's the thing. He can actually win this fight. Because see, the thing is, I don't know how if all Jake Paul's knockouts have been,
That's just it.
You don't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
I mean, the Ben Askren one,
100%.
Ben just stood there.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. But it looks like he can crack, but at the same time, again, man, I hate this guy.
I know.
But the thing is, watching Tommy Fury fight, and I'm like, crap.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I certainly hope Tommy Fury is prepared for what comes from losing to Jake. The internet's ruthless. He's gonna be a meme in 8 seconds.
Yes.
Eight.
And the fact that your brother is the Gypsy King.
Yeah.
Right? They're gonna make fun of you, dude.
The Gypsies are gonna do some awful things to Tyson Fury.
You better win.
Yeah, you have to win. There's going to be an RV on fire that night. Let's just say that. Okay, better fights to talk about than that shit. What about Benavides and Caleb Plant? Which I'm super. You know what? Should we call them up and explain to them that they can't have it on that night because it's the 25th? Should we let them know?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let them know. Jason, do you mind just giving them a call and saying on the
just let Bunit know he can talk to David.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Right, because that's our fight night. That's your fight night. Screw those guys.
Yeah.
But honestly, who do you think is going to win? Benavides or Plant?
Oh man, that's tough. I'm a big Plant fan.
Yeah,
I love Caleb Plant. He can do everything. If he wants to stand there and bang, he would. He can box. He did very well against Canelo.
He's terrifyingly stoic too.
Yes,
people that freak me out. I'm like, man, I want a little bit more of that.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
Oh man, and he's not again. He's one of those things where he's not taken in by who he's fighting. It's like, okay, I'm fighting Canelo, and then all of a sudden they choke.
You're right. No, he doesn't get sucked in.
He was game. And Benavides, I think, does very well on the front foot. And he's gonna do the exact same thing he's always done. Mm-hmm. He's gonna come forward and he's gonna try to cut Caleb Plant off. But I think oh man, it's a close one.
Yeah,
100%.
It's gonna be a great fight.
Yeah, because I
would like to see Caleb Plant.
I don't know if Caleb Plant has the power to keep Benavides off of him, because I know there are some people out there, some boxing purists hate it when they talk about power and speed, but it does play a factor. No matter how technical you are, if you don't have the power to make someone respect you, they're gonna walk you down.
Okay, so talk to me about this. Boxing purists have it out for power? On
because
what grounds?
They don't like talking about power and speed as aspects of the sport. They're very tactical based, right?
Okay.
Are they strong fundamentally? Their footwork, you know what I mean? They get to that nitty gritty stuff,
right? So
they hate it when people oversimplify strategy based on speed and power and analysis based on speed and power.
Yeah,
but the
Bronze Bomber has proven that if you have power, you can box like someone who's maybe boxed for a month. Yes,
even a fight like Paulie Malignaggi and Miguel Cotto. Paulie Malignaggi, great boxer. He could probably outbox Miguel Cotto, but Cotto had so much power behind his hits, and Paulie didn't have the power to even nick Cotto. Walked him down. You know what I mean? It does play a factor. Like even guys like Floyd, right? He has the power, the sting in his punches to keep you honest. He kept Canelo honest.
Yeah.
Right? So it does play a difference. That's the thing. Like, I don't know if Plant has the power to do so. He
Right.
didn't have the power to make Canelo respect him.
Right. Interesting.
Right. And Benavides is a bigger man than Canelo. Bigger.
Yeah.
Right.
That's very interesting. I guess I always think about it like as one of just, it's a component for me. Like it's another component. And I think it can be the component. Like if you have two fighters, I don't know. And this is a question. This isn't me like knowing the answer. So feel free to take it apart. But like you put two equally seasoned fighters, let's say more or less the same amount of experience. You say both very technically sound. Who wins? Is it going to be the stronger fighter? Is it going to be the faster fighter? Is it going to be the faster fighter that can generate more power? Like I feel like that ends up being the like kind of the equalizer, isn't it? Same as jiu-jitsu. Like the stronger athlete, if both are let's say carbon copy, technical, experienced, all that, the stronger athlete is going to win because at some point that matters.
Yes, it does. It does absolutely.
In my opinion,
especially in the pros. Especially in the pros.
Yeah, because we're not dancing and touching and tapping anymore. It is like significant shot. I'm trying to stop you.
Yes.
So
it does play a big difference. If you don't have the power to make someone respect you,
yeah,
they're not gonna respect your punches. They're gonna have a little more confidence coming in on you.
Yeah.
And that's Benavides, man. Like if you don't have the power to keep Benavides away, he's just gonna chew you up. Like he's done so many people.
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting. I always love a Michael Viloria
but Caleb
boxing
Plant
breakdown.
is a beautiful boxer. Like I love Caleb Plant, and I'm going for Caleb Plant for this fight.
I like him like on so many levels. Like the story between him and his wife and like their whole little like power couple thing, and she's like got his back and she's at the track with him. I just think that's like brilliant. I love that. I love to see that in boxing. It's just kind of like they seem normal. Like normal people, as much as he's like, the top 5% of the world of it's like, but they just seem like they have like a system and a lifestyle in place that allows them to be their best for each other. And like, and clearly it's helping him elevate his game. Cause I know she plays a pivotal role in his food and nutrition and all that. So, I mean, you're what's your opinion? How important is having a healthy and strong relationship for a pro athlete?
Oh, it's everything, because if again, like we talked about this with Tank, if you have stuff that's in your personal life that's bugging you, it will affect everything you do.
Yeah.
Especially if everything you do is going into the ring and getting hurt and hurting other people.
Yeah.
Right? That's one split second of you thinking about, oh man, like during camp, like, oh, I got to get home, and I don't know, my wife or my girl or my family, they're just not with me on this. It kills you.
Yeah, drama.
Yeah,
the drama is
all
so
about
distracting.
your foundation. They're your foundation. That's you. That you stand on that, right?
So what's your advice for someone trying to create that in their own life?
Here's the thing. It's tough, right? Because as an athlete, it's gonna be hard regardless to balance everything out. There's this quote I heard from this guy named Tim Grover. Like I'm pretty sure you're familiar with Tim Grover, and those who aren't, he trained Kobe and Jordan, right? And Dwayne Wade at one point. Basically, he said that when you're trying to find balance, trying to create balance in your life, he asked his athletes, what is the perfectly what number is on a perfectly balanced scale? It's 0, right? So if you've found balance in your life, that means someone else is sharing the tension between your goals and you. So at one point in your life, you have to be with someone or with people that's going to be okay with you being pulled towards your goals.
Right.
They're going to have to be okay with it.
Yeah.
And if they're not, then you got to cut them off.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you neglect them completely. Right? Like just like every time I've fought, whether it was in the amateurs or my pro debut, I made sure that I'm after all of that, I'm spending more time with my family. I'm going on vacation with my girl because you know what, she goes through a lot with me coming home tired, bruised up, everything. She goes through a lot, and she has to see that, right? I'm barely home because I'm training. If I'm not training, I'm doing other stuff. So it's one of those things like, hey, you're investing in me. I promise you the return is going to be great.
Yeah.
So keep investing in me. Right.
Yeah.
And that's where you find the balance.
Right.
It's not so much that, okay, at this time I'm training, at this time I'm going to spend time with my family.
Right.
If you want to win, if you want to be great, and you want to achieve your goals, it wants all of you.
Yeah.
And there will be a time for them, but right now it's all you, especially during fight camp.
Yeah.
As a fighter.
Yeah.
You're never really home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you could be physically home, but your mind is somewhere else.
Well, think about all the fighters who, not just in boxing, but in UFC as well, who actually just travel. They leave home for their camps. They say goodbye for 3 months or whatever, and they go and source out a completely different facility. They get a new place, whatever. Obviously, these, people that are investing that much have made it to a certain level in their career. But I mean, Ali did it too. He go up in the woods in Colorado or something, right? And hit the cabin and run the trails. And I think it's really important. Like we were talking about this with Sarah Pusek too. It's just the concept of, to be great at something, it demands all of you.
Everything.
And that's the slippery slope sometimes when an athlete retires or they get injured or something, because you invested so much of what was the fabric of your identity into this one thing. And granted, you had to, because that was your dream. And to be great at that, it costs that much. But then in the wake of it, when it goes away, who are you and what do you have?
Yeah.
What relationships have you fostered? What foundation did you have to sort of catch you? What people had your back and kept you honest? Those kind of things. And I think that's, I do think like, even for a guy like Caleb Plant, and kind of sounds like for yourself as well, people have figured that out, is like fostering that, but allowing the communication to be solid for them to know, hey, it's my time right now.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you don't matter.
Yeah.
Because when this is over, I still want this to be healthy.
It's hard though.
Yeah.
Like it's difficult, right? Because you're gone for so long.
Yeah.
And I think you need to be with someone who also has the same kind of drive, right? Because my girl, her drive is as intense as mine, but somewhere else, right? Like she wants to eventually work for Fraser Health, like head office, right? And she's working towards getting her master's, her PhD. And when I'm not training and she's doing her papers, that's her fight camp. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So I understand, like, okay, I can't bug her right now.
Right.
I can't demand, like, I can't be neat. I can't do all that stuff. That's okay.
Yeah.
Because when she's done, then we'll do stuff.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So it takes someone as intense as you to be with you.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Was that a conversation that was had at the beginning? Like, were you like, hey, this is what I do and this is what I'm about? And she said, hey, this is like, or did you guys just kind of fall into it and like respect it and go with it?
Yeah, we kind of just fell into it.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
And how I knew sometimes, honestly, I think she's a little more intense than I am. Because the first time I ever brought her to a fight, like I've never brought any of my past girlfriends to any of my fights.
Really?
Or even my friends ever. So I brought her in.
No way.
Yeah, this was in the States. Because it was, at that time when I was still an amateur, it was very hard to find fights here.
Right.
So I had a lot of my fights in Washington.
Right.
So I brought her in, and it was kickboxing, right? And at that time too, it was the wildfires here in BC. So I was having a straight up asthma attack in the middle of the fight.
Oh shit!
Asthma attack, like
wow.
I couldn't breathe. And then I think it was the second round. I was in a corner, and obviously coach is yelling at me, doing stuff, and then all I hear in the crowd somewhere is, "Break his fucking ribs!" And I look over, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Amber.
That's so funny.
She's
Shout
like
out
yelling.
Amber.
Yeah, she was just like, break his fucking ribs, break it. And then I'm like, oh crap.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
Amber.
I ended up finishing that fight. I won it, but I felt like that was the closest thing I've ever felt to death because I couldn't breathe. But even before that fight though, she's so intense. But she's like, if you don't win this, we booked a flight to go to Disneyland.
The cliffhanger there. You don't win this.
And she's like, we booked the flight to Disneyland like a week after the fight. And she's like, if you don't win this fight, I'm canceling the flight.
Oh my God. Amber.
I'm like, yo, I want to go to Disneyland.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she understood that. She like, again, like we never talked about it. She knows that I fought, but we kind of just understood each other.
Oh, I love this. This is so cute. We had Elroy on the podcast too, and he's talking about his girl being like the loudest one in the room, and I'm like, this is the cutest. So you guys have a mad squad of like savage women over there behind the Mendoza boys. That's fantastic. I love that.
And
so
they get
much.
along very well. Angelica and Amber, they get along very, very well.
Yeah, and they probably sit and plot the things that they're going to say to get in your heads before the fight so you don't lose. That's amazing. I wonder what she said that she was going to cancel for Elroy if he lost. It was like, I don't know, maybe they had some like, I'm canceling those reservations that took 6 months to get or whatever. You're picking up the bill for the next 2 years or something. It's something, I know, crazy, but that's really funny. That's very cute. Well, March 25th, it's coming up way quicker than it even sounds like right now. Like it's almost end of January. I can't believe that. That's bananas to me. I don't know if you're a physical ed teacher, right? Still? Yeah.
I quit.
You quit?
Because I'm boxing full time.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Honestly, like, I mean, I'm sure you loved your job and that's great, but like, that piece, that step is huge.
After the fight. It was after the fight.
Shut up. You were just like, all right, cool, I'm good.
I spoke to my manager, Sandeep. She's also she is my second mom.
Yeah.
And she's my coach's wife.
Yeah.
And I was like, and Amber knew this was happening. She knew I was going to quit.
Yeah.
Like when summer vacation hit, she's like, he's not coming back.
Yeah.
But I spoke to her and I'm like, I want to just do this full time.
Yeah.
You know, like I think it's time. Like I put it off for too long. It was it's a scary step.
I was just gonna say, were you terrified?
100%.
Wow.
But nothing happens if you don't take the leap of faith, right?
100%.
So I'm like, I'm quitting my job. I'm gonna do it. And the thing is, like, my coach saw it coming. They knew it.
Right.
I was just biding my time.
Right.
Like they knew I was gonna do it before I even thought of doing it.
Right.
But I'm just, again, like that foundation. I'm just glad they supported me through that.
Wow, amazing.
You know.
So how different does it feel to not have that as part of like one of the things on your plate right now?
It's amazing because like I'm in the gym all day.
Yeah.
Right.
So are you teaching? You're coaching? Are you doing a little bit more in the gym?
Yeah. I'm running the admin stuff too.
Right,
so in the morning, like I'm training, but you know, like I'm training for a couple hours, and then when I'm done my morning sessions, then I do the admin stuff.
Wow.
And then I teach classes. I coach. I enjoy that stuff.
So this is a very exciting version of yourself that you're bringing into this next fight.
Yeah.
This is like
I feel like I'm whole.
Huge turning point.
Yeah.
In your life. Wow. To feel like, I mean, that's such a big statement. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So, I'm training all day. That's the thing. Like even when you're coaching.
Yeah.
In our gym, like you train with your students. Like we're training with them.
You're about it right now.
Yeah.
You're eating it, breathing it, sleeping, like all of it. It's boxing all day, every day.
All day.
The
every
mindset that is going to be even just like it's trickling in when you're working with other people. You're just thinking about boxing all the time.
You know all that crap they say, like, oh, when you find something you love, you don't work a day in your life. It's true.
It is true.
It's true.
It is true. Yeah, and to be honest, I think not everyone is because it can be loose sometimes. Like I work for myself too, and it's like, all right, here we go. And like the schedule is empty. You have to fill it, and I don't think that's necessarily everyone's cup of tea, and that's fine. Because with that great challenge comes instability, but you almost accept the instability for the potential of what could be.
Yes.
And you just sort of go, okay, here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah. And I'm so excited for you that you're kind of in that place and that boxing gets to be your life. That is absolutely amazing.
It was Jason who messaged me because I posted something like again, one of my captions was like, I something cheesy. I said something like,
it was a Viloria nugget. It wasn't cheesy, was it?
Well, I posted I broke up with my fears and moved in with my dreams. And he messaged me. He goes, "Hey man, what do you do for a living?"
Did you just make this shit up? Is this just come from your head? It does.
Well,
you're a well-read guy, I'm guessing. So you're reading some stuff. You're getting some influence. But I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie. The Viloria nuggets are pretty good.
Yeah, and he messaged me. He goes, "Oh, hey man, what do you do for a living?" And I'm like, "Wow, I get to say I'm a pro boxer."
That's so cool.
Yeah. I'm like, thanks, Jason.
That's my Jason?
Yeah, you're Jason.
Jason? He's not my Jason. Well, he's my Jason. Jason's the guy that makes me look better on camera, right, Jason? Yay. Michael, that's just like, honestly, I think I'm probably the most excited I've ever been to be part of this next journey with an athlete.
Thank you.
To hear your story. We've heard the full story. So if you haven't seen the first episode with Michael and Terrance, we deep dive into you guys and everything that kind of came to that moment in time. And now to hear everything that's happened since then. And, it hasn't been that long, but it's a lot. A lot can change in a short time, I suppose. And when it's this type of change that just really starts a momentum into something like this is beautiful.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just generally happier.
Yeah.
I'm just happier, and
that's fantastic.
Everyone around me can see it. They can feel it. I'm just loving life right now.
Amazing. Oh, and we can't wait to have you on the next show. The takeover to the uprising, and that's, I guess, a little bit symbolic for you in a lot of ways, isn't it?
For sure.
And so, any last words before you head into this next bout?
Tickets are on sale now, so buy them. Yeah,
shameless ticket plug. Let's go. And inserts link. That's okay. But yeah, what is today Michael saying to the Michael that was preparing for his pro debut? Just last year.
Oh, last year, Michael. Started dieting earlier. For sure.
Yeah.
No. I've never really had weight problems, but I would tell past Michael to just enjoy the process and stop thinking of the destination.
Yeah.
And enjoy every day, because last time I was so into my head that I'm like, oh man, it's coming up.
Yeah.
No, man, just wake up every day, do your thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and just trust the process.
Amazing.
I like last camp, I was so frustrated with myself. I wasn't improving the way I wanted to improve. I wasn't sharp enough and stuff like that. So now I'm gonna tell him, hey man, that's all part of it. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's gonna add up.
You're gonna be all right.
Yeah, chip away.
Yes. Nice. And then the next phase is gonna unfold very, very soon.
Yeah.
And we can't wait to have you on the show. I can't wait to see you fight again. And kind of just see the expression of everything that you've sort of all the stuff that you've invested, all the decisions you made, all the moments that have come together to create this version of yourself. This sounds like the version that you're most excited about.
Yes.
And I think the fans are going to see that, and we're going to see that, and it's going to be brilliant.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for joining me again on the podcast. It was nice to have you back on and chat, catch up with everything happening in your life.
Yeah, it's great being back. My favorite podcast host.
Oh, bless you. Bless you. Actually, I had a funny moment the other day. I was walking across the street in Gastown, and I was crossing the street, and I'm like, God, that guy looks like John Quinnett. And then he's looking at me. I'm looking at him. I'm like, that is fucking John. It was the mustache that gave it away. I was like, that is John Quinnett. We shout out to each other. And then he messages me. He's like, I was just listening to your podcast with Rod Wingrove, and I saw you. And I was like, oh man. So for me, it's about, giving you guys an opportunity to let me back up. One of the coolest things I've gotten about this podcast was from non-boxing fans that said they like it because it felt approachable.
That's huge.
And I've had quite a few people stop me on the street now and be like, oh, I saw you listen to your podcast.
That's huge.
And that's cool because, it's one thing to sit here and, chat boxing and make it super, boxing focused, and maybe we niche down how many people might be able to enjoy it. But I think the cool parts about it, I could chat shit about boxing all day, but it's who are you guys? What does your lives look like? How does the average person who might not be, or a budding boxing fan, let's say maybe Jake Paul influenced boxing fan, is looking at you guys going I don't understand how these people do it. How do they do this? What is their life like? The relatability of you guys as individuals, your story, where you've come from, and all the beautiful, I think you said this too, I believe in the last show, but it's combat sports or boxing is it's like a parallel to life, right? There's so many messages and that reflect what life is like for everyone. And so the relatability of that, and then non-boxing fans to say they like listening to the podcast and getting to know these people and these athletes, or their stories or the funny things or whatever. I think that's the coolest part for me.
It is.
And then you got you got guys like yourself that are really inspiring, that always have really inspiring things to say. Yeah. You have a lot of wisdom and a lot of insight, and you express it very, very in a very clear but also creative way. And I think that speaks to a lot of people. So
thanks. Totally blushing now, but thank you.
No, absolutely. So somewhere out there, there's someone's girlfriend or something who's never a boxing fan, but her boyfriend's dragging her to the show, and she decided to listen to the podcast. She's like, oh, that was actually really cool. It's those people that I'm hit me the most when they come and talk to me. So things like that you say, that doesn't just speak to the boxing fan, that speaks to the person. And I think that's the coolest thing about like what can come from like the show and chatting with you guys. So I appreciate your time as always.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Empire Boxing Podcast with Michael Viloria. And we will see you at the Takeover, the Uprising, March 25th. Get your tickets, are available on Eventbrite right now. And we will also be launching a watch party for the Takeover. Yes. Stay tuned for more. It's going to be at the Hollywood Theater. And tickets are going to go on sale soon. So keep your eyes on our social media for more. Thanks for tuning in to the Empire Boxing Podcast. A huge thank you to our partners at Sting Boxing. It doesn't matter if you're into boxing for fitness, as an amateur, or as a pro, Sting has something for you. Head to their website, stingsports.ca, and use the code EMPIRE10 at the checkout to receive 10% off.
Make sure to listen, follow, and subscribe to Empire Boxing on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube.